Good morning. I don't know, don't you feel like good morning works better than good afternoon? Although good afternoon, I can go a little deep there. Good morning. Welcome back to another fantastic episode this morning. I'm so happy to have Hendrik Crafford with me. I'm really looking forward to this conversation. And Hendrik, welcome to Virtual Coffee. I will introduce you, in a couple of minutes. But all the way from the Free State, which is my home state, which is the only state in South Africa. But I also hail from that part of the world in South Africa. So really happy to be able to talk to Hendrik. And we're going to be talking about coaching and specifically financial coaching. And we're also going to bring in a bit of, behavior finance and those kind of things. And we're going to talk about strategies and just what is financial coaching in the first place and some tools and technologies and things as well. So it's going to get interesting very quickly. So really looking forward to that. Thank you very much for joining us live today. I really appreciate it. Showing up live really takes commitment from you as well. So thank you so much for doing that. We're looking forward to spend this morning with you. Well, not at least the entire morning, but the next hour or so. So good morning, Terence. You are in first. Ben Kleinans, goeiemorgen. Denise Snell, good morning. Nice to have you. Kobus Klein, good morning. Welcome. We've got Rizan Oosthuizen, good morning, Rizankie, welkom. Malcolm, good morning, welcome. I've got Tinus Brits. Tinus, jy is ook mos daar van Bloemfontein. We have a couple of Free Staters in the house. If you're from the Free State or you hail from the Free State, then just say, how's it? Then we can say hi to you too. Kavendra, good morning. Nice to have you back once more. Stephen Nell over on LinkedIn. Thank you very much for joining us. Renata, good morning. I hope you're doing well and that everything is good in your side of the world. There in, I can't say where you live because I'm going to give away that and people are going to come and visit you. But good morning. Adrian Jordan, good morning. Nice to see you. Elmin Lottering, good morning. Nice to see you again. And Cindy Nietling, wow, it's been a while. Thank you very much for joining us and for being here this morning. I deeply appreciate it. So a couple of announcements as it is tradition. So before we get started, so first off, I just quickly want to remind you about my podcast episode with Michelle Hoskin, where we spoke about financial abuse. And again, I want to make it clear that this isn't only aimed at financial advisors and that you need to be aware of this. This is for anybody. So you can send this on to your clients. You can send this on to colleagues. Please help us spread the word with this. This is really an important topic that Michelle and I tackled as far as this is concerned. The podcast is doing very well. If I look at the downloads in the first 7 days, it's been a while since we've had that kind of response. So please go and check it out. It's at propulsion.co.za/EP24, or if you want to do it on your mobile device or wherever you want. I see 50% of our listeners are using Apple. You can just go to Apple Podcasts. You can go to Spotify, Google Podcasts. It's everywhere. I promise you, if you go on any of the podcasting platforms, you will find Propulsion there. Go look it out. You can't miss my face there, so it's on the cover of that. So please go check it out. Propulsion.co.za/EP24. You can also look at the show notes to find more information and links and what we discuss in detail on there. So please go check that one out. And then just quickly, again, the Financial Planning Summit, which takes place from the 12th to the 14th. We've got over 700 registrations already. Please go check it out. It's only 575 Rand. So let me just quickly share with you sort of what you can expect in terms of the agenda. I promised you the other day that I will share with you. So on day one will be global trends shaping financial planning post COVID-19. Of course, we've got to do something with COVID-19. But you can see that we will be discussing how can financial advisors emerge from COVID-19 stronger and better to take on changing operating environments. And you can see on the right-hand side there the speakers. We've really got some phenomenal people that will be part of the panels or that will be doing speaking in their slot. We'll also be talking about the future of financial planning and advice, 5 critical lessons that we have learned in our financial planning and distribution businesses during the pandemic. I think there's a lot that can be learned there. So you can see there's an independent practice and some tired guys in there. So really, and I think this is the one thing that I do like about this, is that this is bringing the perspective from both sides. It's not only for independents, it's not only for tied, it's really bringing everything together and showing you both sides of that coin, if you will. winning and managing the client of the future. Are financial advisors ready for what wealth needs next? And there you can see Sebastian Dovey will be talking about that. He's from the Scorpio Partnership. And then is your financial planning practice set up to prosper and survive in a low growth environment? Has your business evolved enough to ensure that it grows and remains relevant? So you can see it's really powerful topics. Then on day 2, it's all about the search for the ultimate financial planning model. And here you can see, is there really value in a financial planning business? Appointing a discretionary fund manager. So is it something? And there you can see some fantastic people that will be there. Brandon Zitzman from Portfolio Metrics, Peter Kukamur from Coronation. You know these people. Frobella Yates from Momentum. And the moderator will be Tamron Lamb. Not the singer, Tamron from Alan Gray. So really looking forward to that one. And then client acquisition and servicing technology in financial advice practices. We'll have Emily Chen from Iris. She's coming in from Australia. Daniel Michele, I think. Michali, I'm not sure. From Silica. I still need to meet these people. And then Stuart Pottle from AdviceWorks. And I will be the moderator for that session. Then Business of Disruption, Futurenomics Edition. We're going to talk a little bit about that and what are the competing financial planning models available for advisors in SA today. We spoke about business models quite significantly, or to quite a good extent on this show. So really important that there's some more things here. There's independent advice models. There's tied. There's independent networks, etc., etc. So you can come and join us for that one as well. Then on day 3, and this is an important one. And I want to ask you, if you want to WhatsApp me. And let me know, what do you want to know in terms of how do you create value in your business? But not only that, what do you want to know about when you want to sell your business? How do you value your business? What are the valuation models? What are the valuation principles? I don't know. What do you want to know about valuating your business, of getting a proper, fair value for your business? What do you want to know? Please let me know on WhatsApp. You're welcome to. Most of you are connected with me, so you're welcome to send me a WhatsApp. But here we're going to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly in creating genuine equity value. We're going to talk about critical business drivers that create equity value for advisory practices. And then valuation models. And you can see that's where I'm the moderator. So I'm going to be talking to Peter Armitage from Anchor Capital and Haiku from Efficient Group. So really looking forward to that one. And then selling your practice and or joining a national network, etc. We're going to also talk about that. As I said, this is really an amazing lineup of speakers. It is an amazing lineup of guests. Sorry, Hendrik, I made you photo bombers there, sorry. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to be looking at both sides of the coin. So whether you're independent tied or whether you don't know where you want to go, you want some insights into new business models, you want to see where things are going, and just really enjoy 3 days, earn CPD, and only pay 575 Rand for all that value, then please join us. You can just simply visit the link, financialplanning-summit.co.za, and all the information, the agenda, everything that I just showed you is there. So please come and join us. I really look forward to having you with us for that specific one. It is arranged by Kevin Hinton and his team at Collaborative Exchange. So that is their brainchild. It's their initiative. I'm just lucky to be involved with this from a moderator point of view, as well as obviously helping to get the word out. So so please come and join us. You would have seen that Kobus Klein will also be on one of the panels. So there's a few people from the community that is actually involved with this, or that you'll be able to see. So really looking forward to sharing the screen with them. Unfortunately, not the stage yet. We're working on that. Alrighty, so that is sort of my announcements for this morning. The very last one is Friday's guest. I'm very excited to also then be talking to Adam Owen. So Adam is at Next Gen Planners in the UK. We're going to talk about collaboration and sustainability, and we'll also be launching, and here's a great one. I'm really, really excited for this, so I'm not going to tell you what it is right now, but we're going to launch an initiative for South African financial advisors, particularly younger financial planning advisors, where there's going to be an opportunity for them to be part of something huge. So really get that word out, and if you want to say, what is a younger financial, it's not a 20-year-old. So I asked Adam, who's a younger? He said almost our age and younger, because him and I, we even look like we could be brothers, I think, if you really look at that, don't we look like we are related? So So come and join us for that one. I will send out some more information, obviously, before the time, but that'll happen on Tuesday. Alrighty, before I introduce my friend Hendrik this morning, I just want to welcome Anton Hartman. Anton, ek het jou baie lank laas gesien, baie welkom. Shlanganani, good morning Shlanganani, nice to have you. And he says there, it's a pleasure listening to my own maat Hendrik, daar sy. And we've got Conrad Bakker as well. Conrad, thank you for saying hi. Guys, ladies and gentlemen, enjoy this morning with us. It's now my privilege to introduce you to Hendrik Crafford. Hendrik is a financial coach, but he runs a team of financial advisors, and he also does the work of a financial planner or financial advisor himself. So, one of those fortunate individuals that are on all sides of the table. He almost has his own round of the, Knights of the round table kind of thing there in the Free State, with years and years of experience. So really fortunate to have Hendrik here. Hendrik, just from me, on behalf of the audience, welcome to Virtual Coffee with Francois.
Thank you, Francois, and also to all our listeners or viewers this morning, and then a special morning to the Free State people, Conrad and them that joined us, and then some of my old colleagues, Anton Hartman and Shlanganani. Yes, nice to have you with us in conversation. So really nice to be here, and thank you, Francois, for the opportunity to share the wonderful principles of financial coaching and have conversations around it. I think it's one of those new trends that's emerging, and I also believe that we will, as we go along, create standards around it and create more clarity around it. So conversations like this is crucial important, I think, for us all to engage and have discussions around to learn from each other.
Yeah, absolutely. So thanks, Hendrik. Just maybe a brief background for those that don't know you yet, or that haven't heard about Hendrik before, then maybe not connected to you on LinkedIn. And some people I know would have gone and clicked the link and see, who's this Hendrik Crafford guy? But just maybe in short, what is your background? What is it that you actually do? And then we can get into the conversation.
Yeah, thanks, Francois. Yeah, my total DNA is financial services. I've been in the industry for 30 years, been a financial planner for the first 14, 15 years of my career, then went into management and spent nearly 15 years in management at different levels, and with Absa Insurance Advisors. And the last 3 years there I spent on strategic projects, thinking about the future of financial planning, working on advice tools, how to enable financial planners, working on house views, working on the next generation remuneration models, etc. And then I thought it's time to get back into the full circle, back into the front end marketing and client service. But for the last 15 years, I embarked on a journey of coaching as such initially. And like in your intro message, you said, if I can spend a day enabling people or organizations, helping them develop, then I had a great day. So that brought me to coaching, and I initially started my journey in NLP. Then I did the full circle at Centre for Coaching down in Cape Town, completed PCC. I'm still involved with New Venture West. And then I started from there working with different models, did the Enneagram, did focus energy balancing indicator, did conscious embodiment, and a few other things. And then when I started back in practice again, I said, but I think it's crucial for us to have more human engagements with clients and move away from just doing the figures and being an expert. And that then brought me to integrating financial coaching to the financial planning models. And the past 2 years, I've been playing with that to say, how do we bring that together, work with some great people, especially in America, where we draw some information from and work together. Also build connections in the UK, and together we learn from each other. And yeah, I've also got a wonderful relationship with the financial planning school at the University of the Free State, and we've got a joint venture there where we do financial coaching for financial planners. And like you said, I've got the privilege of working with financial planners across the industry with financial coaching, but also a sandpit where I've got then a team of IFAs as well as a team of tied agents. So I've got the view of the industry where we can then look and see how can we better financial planning by integrating financial coaching as such.
Yeah, awesome. It's really a mouthful, and it's amazing, like it takes a lot of years to sort of just get the knowledge going, but I mean, you also back that practical aspect of it, having been in this industry for such a long time. And I think that's really what amps up the value. And for someone like yourself, Hendrik, to really deeply understand what this is about, from that. And I've had some interesting conversations, let me tell you, in the last day, never mind in the last week, where and I'm not going to mention what the conversations that I had, but it is scary, like when people are getting scared of what is going on at the moment, how they want to default back to things that used to work back in the day. And they start doubting the things that have started to work in the more, let's say, modern era or more recently where the focus has shifted. And that for me is a concern in the sense that, I don't know, as soon as we've got this stuff, and we're going to get into what financial coaching is and where to get started and all of that right now. But, it's like, it's fairly new for so many people. And it's almost like, I don't know if you find this as well in practice, like, when markets are down, you start doubting the investment principles that we all preach of. It's time in the market and not timing the market, and it's time horizon over volatility and all that kind of stuff, But then you start like, is it going to work this time? And I also don't know if economic models that I was taught back in 2004, whether supply and demand and that stuff really still applies. It's like things are all over the place. But that's just like something I wanted to share with you. But I want to start off with, like, when we talk about coaching, I mean, there are so many different coaches these days. You have business coaching and life coaching and wellness coaching. I mean, the only coaching that I used to know was my rugby coach. So it's all these different things. And along came financial coaching as well. So from your perspective, are all these things related? Are some of them just more focused on certain things, or are they all the same thing, just with a different name? Where does all of this fit in?
Yeah, I think it's a deep question and a fundamental question, Francois. And most probably thinking of what is financial coaching, we can most probably spend a day discussing that. However, fundamentally, and I think linking back to your conversations you had over these days, must we revert back to the ways we did things in the past? I think if we just start with the basics, is our conversations with our clients is conversations. So and those conversations, we can basically break down to the fundamentals of saying, on the one pillar, we've got we need to listen to our clients. Secondly, we need to engage with our clients in terms of the language we speak to our clients. And then we bring ourselves and our bodies to the conversations, and we bring that with a certain mood of engagement. And that will form the conversation we're having with our clients. And if we can increase the quality of that conversations by contributing to things that serve our clients to increase their financial wellness, I think we bettering the space of financial wellness for our clients as well as for ourselves. So that perhaps as a basic is to say, how do we engage in quality conversations with our clients? And then most probably if we then step a moment back and we think about our industry over the past few years, we were so much engaged in compliance training, the compliance process, a certain financial advice process, the technical expertise that we bring to our clients, return on our investments, and that became our language. And then the question most probably in my mind is, didn't that take us away from genuine client engagement, listening to our clients and what is really important for our clients, and then saying, but isn't that the basis for us in terms of engaging with our clients, is going back to just good old listening and speaking and engagement with our clients by firstly embodying good quality conversations and thinking ourselves.
And it's interesting. I'm standing here thinking like, so is this just a matter of, so certain things in the financial advice process will remain, let's say, sort of the same. At the end of the day, there may very well be a product that must be implemented. It may very well still be the way that you get paid, but the way we get there, where previously that part was the F&A. And I'm going to simplify this I'm going to dumb it down like seriously now. So we used to just rush in, get the information, and then do an F&A. So it was a very cold kind of thing. So are you saying then that the missing element there is really the, truly understand, not thinking that you understand? I always ask this question, how well do you know your clients? And then I start asking more questions around that to get to the point we don't know people as well as we think. And is that really where the coaching thing starts, is to really understand the client fully? And I mean, that surely can't also be just one meeting. So is that the part where coaching focuses more with that initial, creating the or defining that relationship, but then also getting to know the client intimately, what they're about, what is important to them. And as part of that, yes, we'll gather information and we'll use it later on in the process. Or does this go beyond that, Hendrik? Am I boxing it in a place where it shouldn't be?
Yeah, I think you spot on, Francois, is that initial stage of engagement with the client should be really focused on the client and understanding the client. And then I think we as if we want to transform to coaches, we actually going to create a transformational experience for a client, and we'll be transforming client lives by the advice we're going to give, because we will come from a place where we help the client to understand, but not just understand, because there's a second part that we sometimes blind to our own blind spots. And if we engage in those transformational engagements, we'll be able to engage with a client and help them see and become aware of those spots that's not to the benefit of their financial wellness, that keep them from staying within their budget, that keep them from engaging in terms of discussions within a family around how they use or engage with their finances. We will start thinking of how do we transition a family business and who gets involved, and getting those conversations onto the table that's not conducive and to the best interest of the family business, which is those behaviors. So it's also creating awareness through our engagement, questioning, and discussions, so that they can become aware of those things that's perhaps keeping them from reaching that new success, a better life, a more balanced life, creating real overall wellness and not only financial well-being and wellness.
Yeah. So this is a lot about I think helping clients understand, as you say, and then also helping them to navigate the landscape. It's not only like, oh, there's a product and a solution, there you go. This is actually helping them make decisions. It's helping them work through stuff. It's helping them think through stuff. That is really what that is all about. It's not necessarily, dumping a load of answers like a Q&A or FAQ on their desk and say, whatever, and have a look at that. But it's really about helping them through that process over time. And my question to you next is, if I understand you correctly, but I want to ask it as a question, is financial coaching like a replacement for financial planning? Is this something separate? Is this something that I can only focus on that? Does it go hand in hand with financial planning? Or where does this fit in? Is it an additional tool in my tool belt to amp up my value to my client? Where does this fit in?
Yeah, Francois, I think it's one of those things that speaks deeply to a value proposition that me as a financial planner must think of. Is my personal view is, and I'm biased towards financial coaching as such, is and I'm a little bit pragmatic around it. I think it can fit in a little bit everywhere, depending on where I decide what my value proposition is. If I've got a traditional sales practice, I think it can enhance my engagement with my client, and I can bring soft skills to it. If I've got a financial practice where I migrated to become the consultant and the expert, a way of being as financial coach can enhance my way how I engage with my clients, will enhance my way of engaging with my clients and getting more information and really understanding where they come from, that I don't push my way of being or my expertise as a consultant onto my clients, but get more engagement from my clients, so that I really understand my clients, and my clients also really understand the information that I bring to them, that I bring it to them in terms of storytelling, that I bring the information to them, integrating the story that I can bring to them with their stories, so that I can still transform. And then there will be most probably a group of people that will move more to a financial coaching approach, where the total way of being will be as a financial coach. And then on our end of the month coaching conversations, we've got open forum. We've got people that say, I just want to do financial coaching. I don't want to be involved in the financial planning and product implementation. So I think it's a question of financial coaching is there in enhancing the quality of conversations. However, it will depend on what do I want to make with this as part of my value proposition. And what I see sometimes in terms of advisors attending our training, they enjoy the training a lot, but when they get back to their practices, they engage with me and say, can you come and help me as a supervisor or as a financial coach to help me integrate this? Is this something different? Must I now tell a client that I'm now going to coach them, or does it become part of my DNA and way of being as part of how I do business? And I think that's a question each person must answer themselves.
Yeah, and that's a good one, because that's exactly what I'm standing here thinking right now, is that, probably that you can choose where you want to offer this. So if this isn't something like, let's just say I'm not a person who likes the, I don't want to call it, it's not, no, let me not call it that. But the more the softer side of things, and the more, where there's a lot of empathy and time to get to understand and all of those kind of things. If I'm more focused on, and I love proposing solutions and products and that kind of thing, I can then partner with a financial coach, or I can appoint a financial coach in my business to still offer that process. And then somebody runs that part, and then you take over for the part that you are really, more interested in. So maybe it's also important to look at this from a practices point of view, and not only from your individual point of view. Because yes, there's something that me as the person like or don't like to do. And then there are things that the business should be offering to clients, because this is what clients are looking for. And I think this is almost an Apple moment, where clients don't always, they know they're looking for something, but they don't know exactly what they're looking for until they see it, or until you tell them like this is what it is. So it feels to me like almost like this is where this is headed. So really, really powerful and important from that point. Where do I start, Hendrik? If I'm interested in getting to learn more, or getting into financial coaching, what is the starting point for any financial advisor out there that are interested in just like, okay, so this sounds interesting. It sounds like it's something I should explore. So if I say, where do I start? Maybe where do I learn more about it to determine whether this is for me or not? And then secondly to that question is like, if I actually want to start, what are my options?
Yeah, Francois, I think a fundamental point to start from is most probably, I personally think if I take myself and my coaching journey, is the coaching journey I walked helped me more to develop as an individual. So I think that's the one important point is, and the wonderful thing about coaching is it will also enhance your own way of being. So most probably a starting point is I must start somewhere with a model that I can start applying, because most probably my view, world according to Hendrik, is there's a 10-15% of theory that I must embody, or that I must put into my head. However, the embodiment is through practice and how I engage and I share I engage with my clients, because I must now move from most probably being the technical expert, as we said, to being this person that engages and want to understand clients and engage in a way of coaching which is more questioning than consulting. So that changes my way of being, but I must have an underpin in terms of a philosophy how I engage with my clients. So there's quite a few short courses available in the market. We've got a 12-week online program with the University of the Free State, a 3-day face-to-face program also, and I know Alan Gray offers a program. So engage in one of those programs and start doubling your feet into the water. However, I think there's also some great books. One of the founder members of coaching in South Africa wrote a book, Business Coaching, Wisdom and Practice, Stanislav Rosten. And I think this is most probably you'll save yourself 10,000s of rands by getting yourself this book if you want to, because she covers most probably 90% of coaching models that's available, not from a financial coaching perspective, however, from a coaching perspective. And you can then get a good feel of what will suit your way of being where you are currently, and to start engaging. And then from a financial coaching perspective, one of the American authors, Brad Klotz, Facilitating Financial Health, is most probably, in my mind, a nice thin book to read with a lot of practical points. He's heading up the American Financial Psychological Institute. His website also have got a lot of information, but he talks very much they talk very much around money behaviors, and how we grow up as children, how that influences us, and all of that. So I would say, to your question, most probably that is a good point to start. And because it's also, I think the other part is, where do you start is, engage in one of the groups and communities that's around for financial coaching. We've got a last Friday of each month where anybody is welcome to join us. And in that group, we've got people from just starting out that want to explore financial coaching. We've got seasoned coaches there. We've got people that just do financial coaching. So engage in such a community, so there's a lot of free material out there to engage, but I would say a good place to start is join one of the short courses and just immerse yourself in the material. And then the important part, start doing it. In terms of development psychology, there's a thing in terms of our own development where the second stage is seeking balance. And I find a lot of people ending up in that seeking balance portion where you then start with this, I want to embed financial coaching, but let I do the next course, let I read the next book, and you just keep on doing that instead of let I start practicing this. It's like doing CFP, but I never practice the material I've done, and I just attend the CPD sessions to attend them to be compliant, but I'm not emerging in that, and that doesn't embody myself, Francois. So I hope that answers your question.
Yes, so I'm just two things before I move on. So one, yes, people do engage with the CFP material; they burn them sometimes after passing the exams. But also, just you said that just show that book again. That you said this is a nice thin book. Just show it from the side again, like you said, it's a nice thin book to read. Just on its side, so I can see how thick it is. This is a thin book. See, that's not a thin book, Hendrik. This is a thin book.
Is that's the difference? If you move from the Free State to Gauteng, then thin becomes thinner.
Yes. So there's a question from Carol here that actually was part of where I was going, but I'm going to let her ask the question for you. So she says, have you found that it is difficult for those in the industry for many years, so people that's been around for a long time, to evolve away from product focus to a financial coaching and behavioral sciences focus? Is that do you find it that it is difficult for them, or is it just simply a case that they don't know how else to do it, and they also don't know where to go for help as far as that's concerned?
Carol, I'll answer that. Or perhaps two thoughts that comes up from me. There was a case study done by one of the practice management companies in South Africa, where when they went and listened to financial advisors engaging with clients, on average, in under 1 minute, the financial advisor reverted to product and the company they work to, instead of positioning their own value and the value of financial planning and the engagement process with clients. So I think that's the power of coaching, is what is the language we use. And I think the challenge is for somebody moving from product selling to financial coaching is how do you change your own way of being and the engagement? Because the challenge is, the most probably the important question is this what you are doing serving you well? And yes, it's serving me well because I'm earning a good salary and I'm adding value to my clients. We can't say there's no value added to my clients. So I must change my own way of being to move. If I take myself, for very long, although I was employed by corporate, I was fulfilling a consulting role. So I had to have the answers. That was the value I was bringing to corporate. And even now, although at that point of time I was already engaging in coaching, my way of being was not that of coaching and asking questions. My way of being was bringing solutions to the table. And I catch myself even up to this day that I want to go to that what is natural for me. So changing that way of being of myself, moving from being a consultant to being a coach, so that I help the client to explore their own new way of being and what will be useful for them, and not reverting back to what is my natural inclination, where I think I can add value, but that's not adding value. That's like telling a teenage child, you mustn't do that. That's not to your benefit. In a discussion the other day, the parent said, but I've got young adult children are starting to work, but they're spending their money on cars and games and the newest tech, etc. And that's not to the best of making provision for retirement. However, but it doesn't help telling those people that that's not to the benefit. You must get themselves to become aware and engaging with it, because we can't change people. Because that's the other thing, that a lot of people come to our courses and say, but I want to go and change my clients. You can't change your clients. It's by the way you engage in conversation that you get them to explore their own beliefs, which is not beneficial for them over the long term. And if they then see that, that's like driving in a game reserve and somebody sees there's some or other bird, but I can't see the bird. And although it's as clear as daylight for that person that sees the bird, I can't see the bird. And that's the job, if we move to financial coaching, to be transformational, is to take that time with clients so that they can explore their selves, and through distinctions and stories give them a new way of seeing what is not. Where's that bird in the tree, so that they can see that over time it will not be beneficial for them.
Yeah. And do you think, I see Gerald is asking a question here, like, isn't financial coaching just a financial planner earning a fee for the consultation? And I know he's just probing. But is that like sort of, if somebody wants to now change the way that they earn their money and they make this, in other words, they want to change their business model, they now say that they're a financial coach. And this is the problem we have with everything in the industry, basically, and this is what Ari I think is trying to sort out as well, is just to have it clear to the consumer at the end of the day is what is the difference between a financial planner and a financial advisor and a financial coach and all of these different things that we call ourselves, because you always have this problem with people changing their title and what they call themselves. I mean, it's fantastic. If I work for myself, how awesome is it to call myself one thing today and another thing tomorrow? I mean, it's as easy as changing my LinkedIn headline, right? So and then I can say, but now I charge a fee for it. But my behavior has not changed. My focus has not changed. My value, in fact, has not changed. So I want to go a little bit further on Gerald's question and just say, is that also happening? And, what should this really be about? Should this be, let me ask it this way. Sorry, Hendrik, I'm asking you 6 million questions in one. Should this be about how I now charge clients, or the fact that I can make more money, or where is the value, or where should the focus be when it comes to something like financial coaching?
I think after the conversation we must make a transcript, Francois, and take all your questions, because I think it was all good coaching questions we can give the listeners at the end of the conversation. Mr. G, morning. Nice to have you on the show, and really privileged to have such wisdom also as one of our listeners. So, Gerald, a very good question. I think, and that's one of the purposes I started the once a month financial coaching conversation, is to say, let we somewhere start to create also a framework for financial coaching, as well as a standard for financial coaching, because I think your point is spot on. I even see people starting to broadly, as a group, say we financial coaches. However, there's no underpinning in terms of a philosophy or anything like that. So I think that's definitely so. I sometimes say I think financial coaching is, and coaching as such, is where we as an industry was 10, 15, 20 years ago. We just putting a label on, and then we call it financial coaching. So I think that's one of those things that each person must ask themselves as an ethical question, is because we see from research that was done in the States that planners said that they spend on average at least 25% of their time in conversations with clients around topics of financial coaching, like I'm going to get divorced, my kids are still in my pocket, what am I doing with my kids' study debt, and all those fundamental questions. However, only 9% of all the financial advisors interviewed had any credentials in terms of coaching or financial coaching. So I think that's a fundamental question that Gerald asks, and I think that's where we are with a new industry beginning and starting. However, I think that's a phase that we must go through, but that is all of us that's thought leaders in terms of the process must help influence that process, that we get to a better place. Because I think fundamentally, if we can increase for the industry the quality of conversations by having conversations like this, it will be better to our clients. But there is that ethical dilemma which Gerald referred to, which is definitely fundamentally there.
Yes, absolutely. So let's talk just briefly about, are there some tools and technologies also that is available, or that's being used by coaches as well, or that can be used in financial planning practices to help enable and facilitate sort of the coaching process? Is there anything in particular that we can, that you can make us aware of that is available?
Yeah, so I'll say watch this space. We're working on some stuff also, Francois, but to make it more integrated, because the challenge is currently that bringing these two worlds together, there's not something that you can go and fetch as an integrated package. But I think there's a lot of tools. For instance, VI Institute have got a great free offering in terms of looking at the values of your client. If you want a values discussion with your client, you can go and register as a user on their site. But I think the one part of perhaps point of integration is where one must think as a financial, if you want to bring financial coaching in, is I think the whole thing around co-planning with your client, so that your client is part of the process. And I think the second benefit of co-planning, or also the benefit of Prof. Lazenby in America years ago coined it as scenario selling. I want to call it scenario planning, is where you get your client to be able to see emotionally what their decisions is going to be before they make the decision, so that you can actually simulate that. I think if you've got financial planning software that can do that, I think that can be of a large benefit. And then I think two packages currently on the market, or actually I want to refer to three that I think can, depending on how you use it. I think Asset Map is great for giving a picture for your clients to be able to see the total picture. However, I think a package like Avalon, where you can actually model the cash flows for your clients so that they can see the impact of their financial decisions, is great. And then the new ad work has also got a little bit of that in their package. So that's perhaps three of the financial planning softwares where I think most probably the nearest to scenario planning and having those discussions with your client. And then I must say, I don't know all the tools in the market, but I think Avalon is most probably a great example of being able to do that co-planning, create those different scenarios that your client can actually see the impact on their finances. Yeah.
All right, cool, thanks. And then to sort of, let's move a little bit on from there and say, well, okay, so you got to start somewhere, but then also you need to have sort of a clear picture of where do you want to end up as a financial coach, or how do you see it at the end when it is fully implemented as part of your process and your practice and all of that. So, what is the sort of, let me call it the entry level or the bare minimum stuff that one can consider, and where can you go when you go all the way? What is that sort of there? And then, I also want to ask you, is there a strategy of how to move through this process to get to where you ultimately want to be? But let's just first, is there sort of these different levels of coaching, if you will? And then, what is the sort of call it the beginner or the entry level mode versus then where can I ultimately end up if I wanted to?
So I think after you did your initial exploration, dipped your toes into something, Francois, and I want to say, then become serious about or about coaching as such, as a broad body. Kumensa in South African Coaching and Mentor Society of South Africa is a good body. You also become part of conversation sessions, etc., where you can and they open. You can initially start as just a member by joining them. And then I think the important one is keep a coaching log of the time you spend engaging in coaching, because very much all the coaching institutions, where the second one I want to refer to, which is most probably gold, is ICF, International Coaching Federation, is depend on the quality of your coaching training that you do. So then look after doing that little bit of doubling, look that you then do accredited coaching courses that can lead you to accrediting on the different levels, either at Comensa or ICF, so that you then follow through. And they all have got different levels where you then grow as you grow in terms of your qualifications that you attain, and then in terms of the number of hours that you then log in terms of financial coaching. Yes, Francois, I think that's a good journey to follow. And also by engaging with one of the professional bodies, you'll in any case then engage also with the ethics of coaching, which will then address Gerald's earlier point that, do I just coin myself as a coach and I now charge fees? Because then I can ethical say I'm part of a coaching body, like we are part of FBI, and we adhere to those codes of ethics of that body that I'm part of.
Okay, left field question. Do you think that that coaching should have its own thing, or do you think that the Financial Planning Institute should look at also sort of encompass financial coaching specifically? Because I know there's talk about the CFP curriculum being updated to include more these human touch points, more the coaching side and more of the human behavior kind of stuff. That's not there at the moment. It's very technical. So, but do you think that they should also incorporate that, or do you think that's beyond their scope? This is an opinion, obviously. This is not a...
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know Louis previously referred to them, and you also touched in one of your programs on them. The Financial Planning Association in America, which is similar to FBI on our side. I think other than the content that they offer to their members, also their financial planning journal that comes out every month have got awesome material around financial coaching in, and they to a large extent already incorporated the soft skills. They also published a total book on communicating as how to change your communication with clients, etc. So they've done wonderful work. So my view is if we can take that leap, that will be a natural place for financial coaching, which can be hosted there. I think that's a natural way, or a great way where it can go and lie as part of FBI and the whole CFP process. Because I personally think, and that goes back to the earlier question, is when I engage with some of the service providers, they say, no, financial coaching must come after we've done the product. We first do product training, then we do technical training, and then we do financial coaching. I say that process must change around. I must start with financial coaching becoming a construct of way of being in terms of the financial planning process, where we then approach a more life planning, financial planning approach, or my own process is then purpose-driven financial coaching, financial planning is, embed that into my financial planning process, and then we get to the products, because the products is a minute part of the process, because I mustn't start off by thinking about, that's like a lot of times I do audits. When I've still done that, I'll find that the advisor already decided what product to sell. Then they did the F&A just to comply to in terms of the process. And it's exactly the same if I take a coaching approach to the process. I don't go in with any agenda. My client's agenda will lead me to where I'll end up in terms of the process.
Yes. And I have exactly the same issue, Hendrik. So obviously, my area of expertise is there in the middle. It's more the technical stuff and that kind of thing. But, I always said, that's where you need to start, because how often do you'll hear this, you should have heard this more than I've ever heard it in my life. But when we sort of start with the technical training, guys are often a year, 2 years into the process already. And they're already into that sort of thing about the being focused on the product, and it makes sense. And I'll make a comment on that in a second. But now you get to a point they go oh, I so wish I knew this when I started, But But unfortunately, the issue today that we still have, and we're going to have for a long time, is going to be a huge challenge to really get this going. And it's, I guess, on the one hand, maybe a little bit easier in certain environments than it are in others. But the challenge is like, it depends on what is the money generator. Because at the end of the day, product is what drives business and what drives profits for many advisors, product providers, you name them. No product, no income. And on the other hand, it takes so long then to get to that point where the product is being implemented, because we're coaching, then we're doing financial planning, and then only does the product come. So the challenge is that there's a misalignment, I think, of what is important to the one versus what is important to the other. Because for a client, they would want to go through that process, and by the time that they choose a product or a solution to implement, they in their heart know this is the right thing. They're fully committed. They drive the plan. They're part of the plan. They actually constructed the plan without even realizing it. And it's so much more impactful, but I think that misalignment is going to be a hurdle that needs to be overcome, sooner rather than later. I don't know. What is your view on that?
Yeah. I think we come to a fundamental point, and that's most probably to say, how do we rethink our industry as a professional industry, where that process is initially for a new planner is actually internship process, and perhaps a little bit different is I still engage with clients, but most probably, I want to make a point to say for the first few months of my journey, I must work in the back office. I must engage with seniors, perhaps sit into meetings, and that's not to say that my senior or my supervisor is my superior, is I can be the listener, I can take in, but after the meeting, I can also give my input, because I see with young planners in our practice is they bring a wealth of wisdom and new thoughts and new ways of thinking to the table. However, the risk is by turning the process around, we're going to give over all our bad habits to them instead of giving the right way of work and also taking from them new ways of thinking and engaging.
Awesome. Hendrik, thank you. It was a very insightful conversation. I think we can go for another 3 hours, and maybe we will. I think we should, again, maybe continue this conversation, maybe on a different platform. But this was amazing, and I really got a lot of value from this. I think there's loads more that I wanted to ask you. So we will continue that conversation. And please go check out on the LinkedIn recording, Hendrik, because there's a lot of comments there from different people on LinkedIn that you can just go and check out so that you can possibly respond or get in contact with them. If people do want to know more about Hendrik and get hold of Hendrik, where can they do that?
They can go to or either LinkedIn is most probably the most accessible for Francois, and from there's links to website, contact information. I see the contact information is on the screen also, www.craffiscoaching.co.za. We've also got a financial literacy game, which people can engage with us which is fun to play with clients, great to learn clients more about financial literacy, and open conversations just to spread the word of financial coaching and financial literacy training to customers and financial advisors. So thanks, Francois.
Awesome stuff. Hendrik, so that's it. Thank you very much. Let me just see, maybe just before we go, Johan says great work. Gerald says great work. So the rest of the comments you can go and have a look. So nothing that I want to add to that conversation or from the comments point of view. Just from my side, Hendrik, thank you so much. I'm so glad that everything held up there in the Free State this morning. We never know, one day the internet is working fantastic, and the next day, it's like it never existed. But thank you so much for your time. Well done on all the work you're doing. I'm very happy that Ignu put you and I in touch, through a completely different sort of event kind of thing. And that's where we got to meet each other. Really, we know, we have spoken before when I was back in the Free State in 2011. I think you hosted a a meeting at one of our venues there when I was at one of the companies. So just glad to have reconnected with you, and thanks for everything you're doing. I wish you all the best, and I don't know if you have any last words you want to say. You're welcome, just stay well and stay safe.
No, thank you very much, Francois, and thank you very much for everybody that joined the conversation, for the questions. And I think as a continuation of our conversations we'll have on different platforms as we go along. So thank you very much, Francois, and thanks for everybody that joined in this morning.
Awesome stuff. Everybody stay safe. I'll see you on Friday. Bye-bye.